Always prepare ourselves for more difficult times. Always accept what we're unable to change. Always manage our expectations. Always persevere. Always learn to love our fate and what happens to us. Always protect our inner self and retreat into ourselves. Always submit to a greater, larger cause. Always remind ourselves of our own mortality. With a business, we take most failures less personally and understand they're part of the process. When you have a goal, obstacles are teaching you how to get where you want to go, carving you a path. The things which hurt, Benjamin Franklin wrote, instruct. A man's job is to make the world a better place to live in, so far as he is able, always remembering the results will be infinitesimal, and to attend to his own soul. Action is commonplace, right action is not. As a discipline, it's not any kind of action that will do, but directed action. Everything must be done in the service of the whole. Step by step, action by action, we'll dismantle the obstacles in front of us. With persistence and flexibility, we'll act in the best interest of our goals. Action requires courage, not brashness, creative application, and not brute force. Our movements and decisions define us. We must be sure to act with deliberation, boldness, and persistence. Those are the attributes of right and effective action. Nothing else, not thinking or evasion or aid from others. Action is the solution and the cure to our predicaments. Like any good school, learning from failure isn't free. The tuition is paid in discomfort or loss and having to start over. If we're to overcome our obstacles, this is the message to broadcast, internally and externally. We will not be stopped by failure. We will not be rushed or distracted by external noise. We will chisel and peg away at the obstacle until it is gone. Resistance is futile. While overpaid CEOs take long vacations and hide behind email autoresponders, some programmer is working 18-hour days coding the startup that will destroy that CEO's business. Too often we react emotionally, get despondent and lose our perspective. All that does is turn bad things into really bad things. Unhelpful perceptions can invade our minds, that sacred place of reason, action and will, and throw off our compasses. Bad luck is actually a chance for us to make up some time. We're like runners who train on hills or at an altitude so they can beat the runners who expected the course would be flat. There are far more failures in the world due to a collapse of will than there will ever be from objectively conclusive external events. Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or dispositions. Because we can accommodate and adapt, the mind adapts and converts to its own purposes the obstacle to our acting. The majority of my generation decides to move back in with their parents after college. Unemployment for them is twice the national average. According to one 2011 study by the University of Michigan, many graduates aren't even bothering to learn how to drive. The road is blocked, they are saying, so why get a license I won't be able to use? We whine and complain and mope when things won't go our way. We're crushed when what we were promised is revoked, as if that's not allowed to happen. Instead of doing much about it, we sit at home and play video games or travel or worse, pay for more school with more loan debt that will never be forgiven, and then we wonder why it isn't getting any better. We blame our bosses, the economy, our politicians, other people, or we write ourselves off as failures or our goals as impossible, when really only one thing is at fault: our attitude and approach. Being trapped is just a position, not a fate. You get out of it by addressing and eliminating each part of that position through small, deliberate actions, not by trying and failing to push it away with superhuman strength. It's a cliché question to ask. What would I change about my life if the doctor told me I had cancer? After our answer, we inevitably comfort ourselves with the same insidious lie. Well, thank God I don't have cancer. It's really just taking action, whether that's approaching someone you're intimidated by or deciding to finally crack a book on a subject you need to learn. Speculation led to disaster, he realized, and he needed to always ignore the mad crowd and its inclinations. Never in a hurry, never worried, never desperate, never stopping short. Would you have a great empire? Rule over yourself. Welcome to the power of perception, applicable in each and every situation, impossible to obstruct. It can only be relinquished. The trick to forgetting the big picture is to look at everything close up. Take the trouble you're dealing with and use it as an opportunity to focus on the present moment. Marcus Aurelius had a version of this exercise where he'd describe glamorous or expensive things without their euphemisms. Roasted meat is a dead animal, and vintage wine is old, fermented grapes. The aim was to see these things as they really are, without any of the ornamentation. We can do this for anyone or to anything that stands in our way. That promotion that means so much, what is it really? Our critics and naysayers who make us feel small. Let's put them in their proper place. It's so much better to see things as they truly, actually. An entrepreneur is someone with faith in their ability to make something where there was nothing before. To them, the idea that no one has ever done this or that is a good thing. When given an unfair task, some rightly see it as a chance to test what they're made of, to give it all they've got, knowing full well how difficult it will be to win. They see it as an opportunity because it is often in that desperate nothing-to-lose state that we are our most creative. In Silicon Valley, startups don't launch with polished, finished businesses. Instead, they release their minimum viable product, MVP, the most basic version of their core idea with only one or two essential features. The point is to immediately see how customers respond, and if that response is poor, to be able to fail cheaply and quickly. For instance, in the design stages for a new mouse for an early Apple product, Jobs had high expectations. He wanted it to move fluidly in any direction, a new development for any mouse at that time, but a lead engineer was told by one of his designers that this would be commercially impossible. What Jobs wanted wasn't realistic and wouldn't work. The next day, the lead engineer arrived at work to find that Steve Jobs had fired the employee who'd said that. When the replacement came in, his first words were, "I can build the mouse." As Gavin de Becker writes in The Gift of Fear, when you worry, ask yourself, what am I choosing to not see right now? What important things are you missing because you chose to worry over introspection, alertness, or wisdom? Just because the conditions aren't exactly to your liking or you don't feel ready yet, doesn't mean you get a pass. If you want momentum, you'll have to create it yourself right now by getting up and getting started. I know you had nothing to do with the injustice that brought me to this jail, so I'm willing to stay here until I get out. But I will not, under any circumstances, be treated like a prisoner. because I am not and never will be powerless. It doesn't matter whether this is the worst time to be alive or the best, whether you're in a good job market or a bad one, or that the obstacle you face is intimidating or burdensome. What matters right now is right now. The great strategist Saul Alinsky believed that if you push a negative hard enough and deep enough, it will break through into its counterside. Determination, if you think about it, is invincible. Nothing other than death can prevent us from following Churchill's old acronym, KBO, keep buggering on. Doing new things invariably means obstacles. A new path is by definition uncleared. Only with persistence and time can we cut away debris and remove impediments. Only in struggling with the impediments that made others quit can we find ourselves on untrodden territory. Only by persisting and resisting can we learn what others were too impatient to be taught. To be a philosopher is not merely to have subtle thoughts, nor even to find a school. It is to solve some of the problems of life, not only theoretically, but practically. Henry David Thoreau. We spend a lot of time thinking about how things are supposed to be, or what the rules say we should do, trying to get it all perfect. We tell ourselves that we'll get started once the conditions are right, or once we're sure we can trust this or that, when really, it'd be better to focus on making do with what we've got, on focusing on results instead of pretty methods. Life speeds on the bold and favors the brave. You don't convince people by challenging their longest and most firmly held opinions. You find common ground and work from there, or you look for leverage to make them listen. Or you create an alternative with so much support from other people that the opposition voluntarily abandons its views and joins your camp. If something is in our control, it's worth every ounce of our efforts and energy. Death is not one of those things. It is not in our control how long we'll live or what will come and take us from life. But thinking about mortality creates real perspective and urgency. It doesn't need to be depressing because it's invigorating. The Stoic maxim, sustina et abstine, bear and forbear. Acknowledge the pain but trod onward in your task.